Hello, I'm Natasha De Silva, studying journalism and media. I did my work experience at BBC Coventry in Warwickshire. From the beginning, I wanted to do a traditional work placement at a radio or TV station, just because I knew I wanted to go into broadcasting someday. And I thought the best place to learn would be a traditional placement. So as soon as I saw it posted on Moodle, I started preparing for it. It took a lot of preparation, hard work, and determination to get this placement, and I treasured every minute of it. In the first week, I worked on the drive time show with Rosie King and Tim Boswell. It was personally my favorite week of the placement because I got lots of work to do, and Rosie trusted me with lots of work. I felt a sense of satisfaction at the end of every day because I knew that I had done something, I have contributed to the show. I felt like a real team player. I helped Rosie with preparing content for the show. I made lots of voxers, I found guests for the show, and made clip sequences, which is like something I have learned in my course. Because I had the training from my course, I was ready, I was geared up to go. I knew how to edit, I knew how to write scripts, I knew how to do the basic things, make voxers, and that was really helpful. My favorite part was making the cricket package. It was the World Cup finals, and I was very excited about the cricket match, and they asked me if I could talk to some Sri Lankans living in Coventry, and I did an awesome package for that.
My name's Rosie King and I produce the Drive show on BBC Coventry in Warwickshire, which is between 5 and 7 weekday evenings. Well, Natasha was with me for the first week that she was here doing her placement, and I was really impressed because from the very first day she came kind of clued up and ready to go. You know, she had the editing skills, she had the willingness to turn her hand to any job that I gave her, and she did it very well. So, you know, excellent, very efficient editing, excellent script writing, and as it happens, we were covering the Cricket World Cup that week, and Natasha happens to be a big fan and also to be from Sri Lanka. We were in the final, so I don't know much about cricket, so we had one particularly memorable day where we went along to a club where there were India and Pakistan fans kind of watching that match together, and she was invaluable, just kind of whispering in my ear and giving me information. So I appreciated her research skills and just her support, and she also just has, I think, I found her quite easy to work with because she understood where I was coming from. So if I'm busy, she'll realise that it's not a good time, and she'll just kind of fit herself around my working pattern, which I really appreciate because I am very busy, and sometimes it's quite difficult if you have a student who doesn't quite get that sometimes better than others. So really well done, Natasha. Yeah, I think the only thing I could think of, and I really wouldn't voluntarily say anything negative, but since you've asked, and I think you know this already, work on, if your voice is going to be on air, just work on your voice, and I think someone else has told you as well, just confidence and being clear. So, you know, if you're doing a voiceover and if you're the reporter, you need to come across with authority. So just make sure you rehearse the script, I suppose, and just have confidence in your own ability. You know, if you've done the research and you know that what you've written is right, then you have an absolute right to, you know, say it confidently. So that's the only thing I'd say. In all other ways, you did a brilliant job. I think, you know, if you're a producer, you're kind of ready to go on that one, really. So it's only the reporting to work on, and that will come with experience.
In the second week, I worked on the Week Minute afternoon show with producer Kate Brunelli and Rachel Sutherland. When I went in, they said, we're looking for unusual stories, so we need loads and loads of unusual stories. And I was just looking out for them. I found this kangaroo story where this lady in Oklahoma, Christy Carr, she was taking care of a kangaroo, and she used to dress the kangaroo up like her own child. And I thought I should try to get in touch with her. After a lot of research, I did get in touch with her, and she came. We called her up, and she was on the show, which was really good. And I did loads of other things. I organised lots of events for the show, like Knit the Royal Wedding and the Donkey Grand National, and also I did more boxes. It was a fun show. It was a bit challenging to get guests sometimes because the guests were asked to do unusual things like the Donkey Grand Nationals, but a bit of persevering helped. In the third week, I worked on the Annie show with Stuart Kingscott, who was also my mentor. I think I could have done a bit more um, on that week because there were 3 people working already on the show. So sometimes there was nothing for me to do. I have to keep showing myself and reminding them that I was there. But I did learn a lot. I went on a live report with Nikki Murphy. I saw how she prepared the equipment. I saw how she made the interviewee comfortable. I learned a lot from that. I also found guests and wrote cues, and I did more boxes.
Hi, I'm Stu Kingscott. I'm one of the producers of the Annie Oathen Show, which is our mid-morning radio show. Natasha worked with us in the 3rd week of her placement, and I've been her mentor throughout as well. What I'd say is Natasha's work was great, absolutely brilliant. It was really good having her around. We gave her a variety of tasks, starting off with the kind of little stuff that you give to people on placements, like boxes and that kind of thing, but tried to move her on to actually booking in guests for us, researching and booking guests for us, and setting up, writing the scripts herself as well. One thing that stands out was we did a piece on the Scouts that was really good, in that we had a group of Scouts coming in, and the story was something like that more girls had joined the Scouts than boys, and Natasha set all that herself. We had 4 studio guests and a phone guest, so she handled that and the kind of technicals and wrote the scripts for us as well, which was really good. The one bit of feedback I've already given to Natasha actually was that just to push yourself forwards a little bit. There were times I was conscious Natasha has been a bit quiet, and I'm quite busy and I'm very good at forgetting about people sometimes. And there was a couple of occasions where I was kind of like, oh, well, where's Natasha gone? And bless her, she was doing the right thing but thought she was getting in the way, and I said, don't worry about that, come forward. And I told her that in the middle of the week, and it was noticeably different on Thursday and Friday. She just took everything on board that we tried to show her. It was a pleasure having her around. Her work was of good quality, and she's done some good stuff for us that really genuinely contributed to the programme.
The 4th and the last week was in the newsroom. I had to remind people that I was around to help because there was a lot happening. I had to remind them that I was there and I could do stuff, and I did 2 phone interviews from the studio. I learned how to operate the studio. I wrote cues and edited clips for the news bulletins. I also made a package about the shape of the Coventry Leisure Centre for the Bob Brawley show. On the last day, I worked on the breakfast show, and I got to sit in the studio with Shane while he was presenting. I also watched how the shows were produced and answered calls. When I went into my placement, one of my weak points were persuading people, but the placement helped me overcome that. I've also learned that another weak point was the way I put across my voice on air. With a bit of training from my tutors, I'm sure by the time I graduate, that wouldn't be a problem. I went into the placement thinking that I would like to be a broadcast journalist, but I think that has changed a bit. After learning how things were done behind the scenes, I not only wanted to be a broadcast journalist, but also a producer. The producer is a mastermind behind the show, and he or she would do a little bit of everything, even broadcasting, just to ensure that the show would be perfect. I remember the satisfaction I got by helping someone just produce a show. I would love to go back and do that again. I can't think of anything that went bad except that I had to remind people that I am there, and although I'm not on work experience, I am willing to do anything. Overall, it was a great experience. I met some wonderful and talented people. It was fantastic and I loved every minute of it. I would love to go back and work at BBC Coventry in Warwickshire.